fellow marketers, Professor Wolters here, and today we're going to talk about is the business environment. Business environment? What do you mean? Well, when I talk about the business environment, what I'm talking about is kind of the ecosystem that businesses find themselves in. They have their immediate environment, these things they can directly deal with, like who they're going to hire and who they're going to work with and how they fight off their competition. But also there's the macro environment, the things that they can either react to or be proactive about, but it's not something that really they can have a lot of impact on. So they're kind of dealing with it. Think about it, the rain and the laws and stuff like that. The companies do have to deal with that in their ecosystem, just like you and me. Think about it, my immediate environment, what I have to deal with and that I can do with my students, my family, you know, these kind of things, I can deal with that. And then I have to think about the weather that I'm dealing with. Yes, I could go inside and film instead of outside in the cold. I can influence these things. And so what I want to talk about today is an idea of how companies are really influenced by the business environment they find themselves. Because if you think about it, for you as a person, the situation you find yourself in will influence a lot. Think about it. If you're watching this at lunchtime, right? What are all the factors that influence your decision on lunch? Well, one, if it's rainy and snowy and cruddy outside, you're like, I'm not going to go out. I'm going to look and see what's inside, what's in the kitchen, or I'm going to order delivery. Or it might be, how do you feel? Or what do you feel like having? Oh, well, you know, I really like Italian food, so maybe I'll go with Italian today. I'm not sure. You have those kind of things. Other things you might look at is how much money do you have? Because you don't got much money, you're not going to the fancy restaurant, you're going to go for that value meal at McDonald's. And so you have to realize is that companies kind of are the same way. They have to think about all the things that are going to influence their purchasing, their selling, the products they're going to make, what they need to do. And the thing is when you're looking at this environment, we kind of break it into two different parts. You have what's called the immediate environment. These are things that the company can directly influence. I mean, think about it. The company can directly influence what they do with their competition. How do we change our prices? How do we make different products in order to compete with them, right? Also, we can look at the different corporate partners we have. Who do we work with? We can do that. Also, we can look at and say, hey, we don't have employees that can do this certain task. We can go and hire people for that. So there's a lot of different parts of that immediate environment that we can really have a big influence on. We can actually directly impact things. That's not a problem. Well, it is a problem, but these are things we can actually do something with. Like I can make a difference by fighting against my competition. But these outside influences, these macro environmental factors, these are things that are outside of our control. The thing is, macro factors affect companies in different ways. I mean, think about it. A ban on smoking would be a legal factor, right? A ban on smoking. Well, does that influence a school? Well, no, because usually little kids aren't smoking, right? But if you're a bar, that will directly impact you, though it's the same law. And so different macro factors will have different impacts on different businesses. And if we look at some of the different macro factors, and each one of these factors actually we have a video on, so go look below and you'll see that there's links and stuff like that. Or if you're on our website, Professor Wolters, go to the topic 3 and you'll see all the videos listed and you could do that. But you look at it, you look at the economic macro factors. I mean, if the economy's going well, hey, it's a lot easier for us to sell new products. If the economy is doing poorly, we got some issues there, right? We might look at the demographics. How are those changing? You know, people are having less babies. What does that mean? Oh, there's more old people out there. What does that mean? What do we have to adjust to, right? So you have to think about that. You might look at the legal, political, macroeconomic factors that are out there, the changing laws. How do those laws affect us? Do they affect us? Do they not affect us? It doesn't matter. We still have to know them, right? So you have to do that. You might look at technological factors. I mean, think about how much the internet has changed everything. I mean, your phone that you have in your pocket, or maybe you're watching this, I mean, it's got more power and more computing power than they had going to the moon with the Apollo 11 rockets, okay? And the Saturn V. You're like, wow, that's pretty crazy. Yeah, it is, because technology changes. Also, you might look at the natural factors that are out there. Like, look, the weather out here, I mean, that it's really cold. I'm probably not going to film a lot of videos today, right? And businesses have to think about that as well. And also, we're going to look at the cultural factors that are out there, or social factors that are out there, and how things change. And businesses really have to do one of two things. One, they can react to the changes that are happening in their macro environment. So, a law happens, okay, we'll put up a no smoking sign. Or they can be proactive and say, hey, look, the Restaurant and Bar Association would like it to be known that we should be allowed to have outdoor smoking areas within 15 feet of the door, so our clients that do smoke actually can smoke and come back in the restaurant later instead of having to get in the line again. Oh, okay. And so they might have a political action committee to kind of influence things or be proactive in that way. So you'll see these things out there. But the thing is, these macro factors, I actually have videos on all those. So watch those to get a better idea of each one. Okay. And the thing is, when we look at this and we say, okay, you got your immediate environment, you got your macro factors. So what does it all mean? Well, for businesses, what it means is firms need to take into account all of these factors when they're looking towards their future and their future business interests. Because if you're in, like, for example, Nokia, they didn't see those technological changes and societal changes that really made it that phones were no longer just a phone. They were a part of our lives. So they didn't have their smartphone out in time. It took them years to put out their smartphone after Apple had basically wiped the market clean of all the smartphone competitors. And so you have to see this, because you as a company can't just sit back and say, oh, it'll be fine, or complain about the changes. Realize changes happen in the economic situations, the political situations, the environment, all kinds of things. And so for us, for firms, have to deal with that. Because if you can see the demographic changes and you can take advantage of that, that's going to help your business grow. If you see technological changes that can help your business, that can help you grow. You have to think about all this and put it all together, because it really isn't just sitting back and not taking advantage of it. That's why you see some universities have really gone all in for online education, whether it's an online MBA or an online master's or an online undergraduate education. Why? Because the technology allows us to do it, which is fantastic. But the thing is, they're the first ones out there. Some industries, only a few competitors can survive. So if you see these changes coming and you're first on the market, it gives you a better chance to survive. So I hope this helps you know a bit more about that macro environment, immediate environment, and the business environment in general. Do watch our videos, focus on each one of the macro environments, because it's going to tell you a lot more about how companies can really deal with this and issues that they really will see in those macro factors. Anyway, I'll say bye from here in very cold, I can't feel my fingers anymore, Illinois.